I really was sat down to be taught these types of things like at home. I think my parents took it for granted that they were teaching me this in school.
Yeah, you're not gonna learn this in school. So one of the things that when I speak to people, this is how I really start. I don't know about you. This is how I start. I don't know about you, but when in my home, right, I saw my mother pay rent, buy groceries, right, buy school clothes, right, pay insurance, car note, whatever her responsibilities were, right.
Yeah.
But there was never a conversation about saving, investing, generational wealth, because some of us are only 3 or 4 generations removed from slavery, right?
Right.
So everything was about survival, right? Everything was about survival. And now we have the opportunity, doors are opening where, everything is not about survival. It's still surviving, but you need to be able to take what you're making and start using it to your advantage, We all love material items, right? But material items aren't going to get you the financial freedom where you're trying to go. So, taking advantage of the money that you make on your job or the money you get from your income tax, things like that, and start finding other avenues, to make that money work for you. We weren't taught that. And,
Right.
Those opportunities, and there's a lot more material that can help us learn it now. One thing I did do, this book wasn't just written, in my sleep. There was a lot of research.
Yeah.
And there is not a lot of children books. You can go to the children's section, but understand a lot of those writers have been rich for years, and the way they write, it's not common. It's not breaking it down to the basics.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like, you know what? That's the market right there. No one's paying attention because they just want to keep them in the kiddie world, the kiddie mind frame. And by the time they get up to speed, it's late.
Yeah.
It's late.
Yeah. Yeah, easy to get behind.
Right.
Because like you're talking about this, and I'm one of those kids. Like I wasn't taught anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, and what's interesting? I feel that black people have been taught, like specifically like my parents and grandparents. I won't even say my grandparents, because they were a different style of people. They knew they had to be entrepreneurs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what they did. Then another generation came. It's like, no, you can come work for us now. It's good. Get your 401k, do all of these things, and just stay here though. Make sure you stay here. You know what I mean? Stay here, and I'm gonna take care of all of this stuff for you.
Yeah.
And
I'm a child of a boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that like a lot of parents in a certain age group, they talk to their kids about like pull yourself up. They live that pull yourself up from your bootstraps thing.
Right.
What bootstraps? This is an untruth that someone has taught you that they don't even use that themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have our people are in a place like where they're not even thinking about the generations after them. They're like, no, you go get it. I did it. You know what I mean? You can do it. Bread don't cost 25 cents anymore.
It's great. And that's the mistake, because other ethnic groups, they leave the house, they leave money, they set it up their way. They know they're not going to live forever, right? So they leave their money because they know that if they leave money and they teach their children, right, from an early age, they can make their money grow. The Fords, the Bushes, the Rockefellers, that didn't happen by mistake.
Right.
I don't care how they got it.
Yeah.
I don't care how they got it. We know how they got it, right?
Yeah.
We understand how but there's still multi-billionaires today. That didn't happen by mistake. That happened by design.
Yeah.
Because their children go to these schools and they're being taught this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So even as blacks, Latinos, Dominicans, Puerto Rico, whatever label outside of Caucasian you want to go, by the time that we learn this different, some of us, I'm not gonna say all, because think about it this way: we have college grads in here. When you went to college, the first thing they did after you enrolled in school, they threw a credit card in front of you
before you got out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Live it up, right? Charge, right? When you go to the military, they say, hey, let me finance your car, let me finance your furniture, let me finance your wife if you need me to.
Right.
They teach you how to get in debt, but they don't show you how to manage the money.
Right.
So by the time you go through you make all these mistakes, you 27, 28, 29 for that light bulb come on, you be like, holy crap, I need to save some money.
Mhm.
Or someone got into your ear.
Yeah.
But now you got to go back and erase your debt before you can start saving and building. So now you're 10, 15 years behind.
Yeah.
Now we running against the clock at that time.
I remember like being young, and because I didn't know enough about like anything like that, I actually didn't have a bank account until I was like almost 24.
Wow.
But while that's like cool, cause I'm like cash on hand, and I'm moving around like that, and I would pay $5 to get my check cashed at Fiesta or whatever and take it home. But I missed out on, some of the things that can happen, like building interest, building savings, building credit, for a really long time, just because that stuff just made me nervous to the point that I avoided it, And I remember the first time that I had to write a check for real, I really had to have somebody, and I think it was like my employer that was like, okay, brought me into the room and was like, this is where you sign this. This is where you do that. I really didn't know those things and wasn't taught them. And I told y'all before, I went to debate.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? I could make a split, but I cannot write a check.
My mother's still writing checks right now. She's a lady in line. She's like, oh damn. She's writing a check. And if you're listening, Mom, you do still write.
And then being young too, and also like making a lot of money and not having a lot of responsibility. Well, maybe it's not considered a lot of money, to